So there's supposed to be audio going through, but I'm not entirely sure why it's not. It's actually a little weird that it's not. So what if I do this? No. What if I do this? No. It's why? Why isn't it doing anything? Definitely turn that off. Why? Hold on a second. Something's weird with my audio setup. Should be outputting to sound capture. Oh, wait, it is there. There we go. It was just very quiet. That was the problem. We got it. All right. Okay, and then I do this. I push this button. And then I do this real quick. Don't mind me.
Same seating, same charging, everything. If you don't mind. Thank you.
Okay, so it looks like everything's working now, which is cool. Means I can now. So, how you doing? Oh, hell yeah. I can totally see what I'm doing. Now just let me not jank it all. Just have a nice little seat. All right. So, hello. You may have seen me once in the past in this outfit, maybe twice in the past, because I did do that one VRChat stream a while back, and then I played, it was Starfield. I played Starfield while wearing this thing. So, here it is again. Take a look at my frog. I like it. Also, I've got legs. Don't worry about that. So, here is basically why I'm doing this stream. I'm just making sure everything's working over there. Yeah, looks good. Basically, I'm just doing this stream because I felt like doing it in VR is the only appropriate response to talking about the Vision Pro. And also, as you may notice, I'm in a VRChat Apple Store world, which conveniently someone just made. So, hey, how about that? I'll take a picture of the world thing. It's right over there. It's by Matty Boy VR Worlds. It's literally the first thing when you look up Apple Store. So it's pretty easy to find. So basically, yeah, I'm just going to talk about the demo, the whole feel, everything that I went through, and then I'll sort of give my final thoughts on it because it is a interesting piece of technology. I try not to be someone who, generally speaking, will just bash stuff for no good reason. Like, I will try something out at least once just to make sure, you know, there's actual arguments against whatever it is. Maybe see if there's some good things people have overlooked. Maybe see if there's bad things that people have found to be worse. which also makes me spend more money than perhaps it would be feasible, but that's traditionally why I do that. Like, that's why I was using Google Stadia for a while, because Google Stadia, as stupid as it was, did have some benefits, and it was a good idea to check it out, sort of see it, get a personal, actual opinion instead of just parroting on the very points that people just like to go on about for Google Stadia. Same thing with Amazon Luna. Same thing with like the PS Portal. That's why I own one of those things. I might want to like sell that one. Honestly, it's pretty useless. I got a PS Portal sitting over there in a case I bought for it because like I didn't want to keep the box around because I think it was just taking up space. And I use it less than the backbone controller for my phone that I also have sitting over in that area, and I don't use that very often either. So PS Portal has its perks, but has a lot of stupid things about it. It is a device that literally does not work unless connected to the internet, and it has an airplane mode. It is the strangest thing I've ever seen. But we're not talking about that. The other thing, just as a point of reference here, is that I am not an Apple defender. I'm in absolutely zero way an Apple defender. I have literally been on the Apple hate train since 2000. 24 years of being on the Apple hate train. I am not exaggerating. I have literally always really disliked Apple. However, I will also get credit when credit is due. For example, when the original iPod Touch was created, not the iPod or the iPhone, the original iPod Touch specifically, that I will recognize as something that literally changed the world. It changed how we interact with technology. It created the smartphone market, which did not exist before. And then it turned into the iPhone, which became a piece of garbage because it was basically just an iPod Touch that had a phone built into it, which was functionality you already had with the iPod Touch if you had the right workarounds. And then every single model of the iPhone after that point has basically just been them slapping in technology that everyone else had already done and pretending they were reinventing the world. Fuck Apple. But the iPod Touch was okay. They also did, back in the day, the whole making things GUI instead of command line, but whatever. It's not important. That's just where I stand. I'm someone who will give things a chance as long as it's not too bothersome. And I'm also someone who does not like Apple. That's where we stand. I'm also someone who happens to live conveniently close to an Apple store. So, the other day, I went in, booked a demo, and got a Vision Pro demo later that day. I will say their way of doing the demos is stupid. So what you have to do is you have to go to the store physically. You can't call, you have to go into the store to sign up for a demo, talk to one of the people there, and they will book you for one of the demos. The place I was at had 4 demos going at any given time. So, 4 people, 35-minute demo roughly. So, 4 people every 30 minutes. 8 people an hour. They could fit, let's say, 8-hour day. Probably more like 10-hour, honestly. Let's go with 10-hour. So 8 people an hour, 10-hour, 80 people get a demo every day. Let's give that as an estimate. So if you were to say, want to get a demo and you lived an hour away, drive the hour and hope they've got demo slots, fucko. Anyway, it was stupid. It's a stupid system. They may have an app to do it. I don't know. I literally do not have an Apple phone. I can't check the App Store. But that's not what we're talking about here. So apart from the stupid setup they have going for that, also apparently they might be doing demos past this weekend. That there was like confusion amongst the people at the store when I asked them about that. Who knows? We'll find out on Monday. I don't think any of them do. So when I get to the actual demo, I will say if you have the ability to, you should try out the demo yourself. Like, there's nothing better than forming your own opinions about something. All I can do is apparently turn off my controllers. We're good? Okay, we're good. All I can do is tell you what I experienced what I did, what I noticed, and maybe what I would have done differently or try out if I, had the time to go back again and do it again, which maybe I will, who knows. So the demo starts technically 5-10 minutes beforehand because they need to scan you in. Not like whole face scan thing. They need to get a face, like, what's the best way to put it? They need to measure your face using an iPhone to get the right band size, because there's medium, large, and small. So they need to have the right cushion to go on your face so you can get the proper light blockage. And also, if you wear glasses, which I do, they have to take your glasses and put them into a thing to get your prescription, so they can get lenses that match your prescription and fit those into the headset for you. So you can't wear glasses in this thing. They mentioned that, like, in extreme circumstances, they would let them do it, but it would hamper the experience. And from what I experienced, yeah, I would believe that. It's a tight fit. Let's put it that way. So that whole thing goes off. The person I was sitting with sort of gave me a spiel about the headset, the spatial computing, what they're trying to do with it. They're doing like the small talk, who are you? What do you do for work? How far did you come to try out the thing? Are you looking to get one? You're just trying it out, that whole thing. They bring it out on like this little tray. It's like literally a little platter. That's the best way to put it. You ever get one of those like chip bowls or like pretzel bowls at someone's house that are made out of wood? They're kind of shallow, but they're like deep enough that if you're just like moving around with it, it won't necessarily have pretzels slip out the sides. They basically brought one of those out with the Apple Vision Pro on it. And first reaction to it is very sleek. Like, the whole fitted formed glass thing is very cool. It's got the nice aluminum body. The strap is like, to the touch, it's kind of comfortable. It's not too different from my Quest 3's like foam insert stuff. Like, it's kind of a normal strap. And also, Jesus Christ, that battery is heavy. Also, there's chats. Hold on a sec. Oh, you joy. Oh, I'm not sorry. I wasn't reading the chat window because I got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Also, hi, Aita. How are you? Welcome to the chat. That's probably showing up on the screen over there, but yeah, hello. Also, yes, I already did the giveaway. Do I still have that thing open? I'll turn that thing off if I still have that thing active, because I really should not have the thing active anymore. Yeah. I might, like I said, yeah, it's gone. I turned it off. Excellent. I might do more giveaways in the future, but like for now, leaving it there. All right, so where was I? All right, the battery. Whoa. Oh, don't want to do that. All right, so the battery. Jesus Christ. So to give you a frame of reference here, the Apple Vision Pro, is the headset itself. It's got the headset there. It's got the band in the back of your head. And it's basically always tethered to a like battery that kind of looks like it's roughly size and shape of a phone. Like, have you ever seen a battery bank? It's just a battery bank. It's got a battery bank that has to be tethered to, which connects up to like a port on the side of the helmet. The helmet or the headset itself has no internal battery. It all runs off of this external battery that I think is supposed to be like attached to your arm or maybe in your pocket or something. It's got a relatively long cable. I don't know what that thing is made of. That thing feels like it was made out of solid titanium. It was like, I have a Samsung phone. I have a Samsung S23. It's over there, just charting. It is roughly the size and shape of like two of those stacked together, kind of a little rounder, a little fatter, but it felt like about 2 or 3 pounds. I could kill someone with that battery. It was incredibly heavy. My only guess is that the battery was made. Oh, thank you for the follow. Oh, yeah, yeah. Thank you for the follow, Aita. I appreciate it. But yeah, so this battery, like I tried lifting it up and so it's like, what the fuck is in this thing? I don't understand. I actually don't understand what they made that thing out of. It feels like it must have been mostly metal. I just do not understand what on earth they were thinking with that thing. You can get a battery that probably has way more power in it that weighs easily half that. I have like downstairs, it's dead now, but I have like an old lithium battery pack, which is like this big. Like, it's like it goes most of the way across my chest if I was to hold it there. That thing weighs less than the Apple Vision Pro's battery. Okay, I cannot stress enough how fucking absurd this battery is. That is like the main dominating thought in my head every time I think about this thing. Okay, so Apple Vision Pro gets brought out to me. The battery exists. I never actually like carried it around. I picked it up the one time with Jesus Christ and put it back on the table. I just left it. Not touching that thing anymore. There's also a bunch of stuff where people have found out that like if you take one of those little phone SIM card pin things and just like poke the top of the battery, it actually unplugs and it's got like a lightning cable. So you can actually just, use whatever battery you want with that thing, which is probably a good idea given how heavy that thing is. Also, my chest is starting to twist around. Yeah, don't worry about that. It's a problem with these trackers I'm using. I made the smart financial decision to buy slime trackers, which were hyper cheap from eBay. I've got 15 of these things, like literally 3 boxes of 5. The other 2 boxes are sitting over there for like $50 total. So I'm willing to put up with some jank and poor tracking for the fact that I got full body for less than the price of a full video game. Don't mind that. So let's talk about how long have I been going for? Like 5-10 minutes now? 20 minutes, Jesus Christ. Okay, let's talk about the actual headset. Ironically, this is about how long it took for me to get my actual headset because because you have to do the face scan thing with the iPhone, it just would not scan my face for whatever reason. Like I tried for like 5-10 minutes just to do like, and then eventually we finally got to work. Turns out we had to like face a specific way because there was too much stuff in the background. Okay. So first step, putting on the headset. A lot of people online that already have these things have been talking about how like it's super uncomfortable and there's a lot of pressure on the face and like the one unistrap that they have is not as comfortable as like the 2-strap one that they have. Unfortunately, I was not able to try out the 2 split strap one. It just did not happen. We only had the 1 unistrap. I will say the unistrap, not terrible. It's got this like knob on the side. So if you've ever seen like the Quest headset Pro straps, which have like the knob in the back, or like I think some of the Vive, or does the Index have one? I think the Index also has one of those. It's just like a dial in the back that you rotate to tighten the headset up. It's basically one of those, except it's on the side. And the deal, my guess is that they have like a wire running through the fabric part on the back, which just tightens it up as you turn the knob. It's fine. It's just normal tech. The strap itself was honestly surprisingly fine. You just have to like rotate up and down on your head depending on where you want the pressure. I basically got it into a relatively good spot where the headset wasn't drooping on my head or like pressing on my cheek too much. Instead, it was kind of pressing everywhere on my face evenly. Not ideal, but it worked. Unfortunately, I also had to have it pretty tight because since unlike every other VR headset, except for like the Quest Pro, which has a halo strap thing, it doesn't have a crown strap that goes across the top. So you aren't able to like just set it there and have it not fall down your face. So you do need to actually ratchet it in. Now, I will say I was not able to try it for an extended period of time. A lot of people complained that after 25 minutes, it started getting too much. I didn't think it was that bad at the end of my demo, but I also kind of flew through the demo, so I didn't have it on for that long. And also, I have a pretty good resistance to pressure on the face. I'm literally wearing a Quest 3 with the face strap right now, which everyone says is a terrible idea because it's so uncomfortable. I honestly really like this. It's nice and comfy. But that's like where I'm sitting, right? I'm relatively resistant to the discomfort. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the fit. The whole thing about them like getting the multiple face pads and the multiple things, it did have a pretty good light block. I couldn't see out my nose very well, which was actually an issue I'll touch on later. But generally speaking, the fit was fine. The double strap thing probably would have been better. And again, the fact that it doesn't have the crown strap, so the headset will like slide down your face if you don't have it on so tight that it's actually compressing on your head, is a problem. All right, so now we get to the part where the thing actually turned on. Now, I'll preface this by saying my VR experience is actually pretty limited. I have tried a bunch of headsets in the past. I do have like extensive VR experience, but I haven't tried like the high-end stuff. The headsets I own or have owned are a Oculus Rift DK2, Oculus Rift CV1, or yeah, Oculus Rift DK2, which is the developer kit. That doesn't count. It's so old that it basically is not usable. The CV1, which was great, love that headset, packed up in a box. A Quest 1, which has since been donated because I've got a replacement on. Quest 2, which was fine but had its issues, and also the Quest 2 itself was broken, and I had to return it, get my money back. Quest Pro, which I use for alternative things. I may use them in the future on stream, we'll see. And the Quest 3, which I'm currently using. Those are the ones I have like extensive time with. I've also used like a original Vive. I've used an Index. I have like a HTC piece of shit in the cupboard that I use like for an hour, and that thing is a piece of shit. Holy crap. I can't believe people paid $700 for that. I would not have paid over $100 if I knew how bad it was. That's how piece of a shit that thing is. But apart from like those, I haven't really used any high-end stuff. I haven't used a Big Screen Beyond. I haven't used like the super expensive headsets like a Vargel Aero or whatever it is, the ones that actually are like $4,000. So that's sort of my limitation. The Quest 3 is probably the best headset I have. I do have some experience with eye tracking with the Quest Pro, but like that's sort of where I'm sitting. Mostly Quest, mostly Oculus, mostly Meta. The screen on the Apple Vision Pro is incredible, honestly. It is, they said it was an 8K display, 4K per eye. And like, they are incredible screens, legitimately. The pass-through, also fantastic. So I'll preface that by saying I was in an Apple store, and lighting is very, very important when dealing with pass-through. Like, my headset, the Quest 3, really good pass-through, but because I'm using like LED lights, sometimes they do weird stuff and flicker. If I was in the Apple store, maybe because they have like fancy lighting or better lighting, maybe the pass-through would be better than it is in my current room. Similarly, the Apple Vision Pro was in the Apple environment. It was using the good lighting. It was using like the nice clean environments. Everything was nice and slick. But if I took it home, the pass-through might not have been as good. However, the two things I noticed were that, one, I could actually look at my hand and face in front of me without distortion. When I used the Quest 3, or if you've ever used a Quest 2 or a Quest 1 and you use the pass-through, you'll know that like when you're looking at your hand, it warps all over the place. Like it is messed up if you look at anything that's within like a foot of you, because the headset is trying to warp space around stuff because it's trying to figure out where it's going on and all that in order to make it look, relatively good. With the Apple Vision Pro, none of that was a problem. I held my hand up to my face, perfectly fine. I looked at my phone because I was taking a picture of myself, clear as day. No warping, everything was fine. video quality was actually incredibly good. Like those displays, I could tell I was looking at a display, but it was hard to tell exactly. Again, though, highly, highly dependent on the environment, I would guess. Keep that in mind. This is why I say try it out for yourself, because you can see. Okay. So the experience started, and the first thing it had me do was it had me do like a what's the best way to describe it? I'm like clicking like my fingers, because they tell you to do like the pinch motion to do stuff, right? So I have to look at a bunch of dots in order to calibrate my eye tracking. Quest Pro kind of does this too. And I have to look at each one and click to sort of indicate I'm doing the thing. Then once I go through that once or twice, I'd hold my hands out in front of me, and the thing would actually scan my hands in order to like, know that my hands were there, get it calibrated that way. That was the basic bit. And then once we get into the actual headset, it kind of showed up with a bunch of icons that looked like an iPod or Apple, tablet. What is it called? iPad. It looked like an iPad just hanging out, floating in front of me in the space. And of course, I think it's been shown off in the demos. When you look at each of the icons floating around, each one of those will like move to indicate that you were looking at it. So what was it? First thing we did was go into the pictures. Yeah. So they had a bunch of pictures lined up. They had like, what was it? It was one picture of like, there was one picture of like a person wearing like a jacket with like, it was like a yellow raincoat, like a blue shirt underneath. And they just did a tutorial of like, okay, so in order to move around the picture, you need to pinch with both hands and pull out. If you've ever used any VR game, it's basically the same thing. Where like, if you grab a thing and pull out with both hands, it'll expand. You pull in with both hands to shrink. You can move things around you can scroll by like doing a pinch movement like this, or you can move sideways, that kind of thing. If you ever use the Quest like pass through with the hand tracking, it's very similar. The only difference is that you can do it like looking down here. Zip, zip. So I'm looking over this way, my hand's getting tracked doing that like that. That's their big selling point, right? Because unlike with the Quest one, you actually have to go like tap the thing, move up with your finger. It's like you're trying to interact with a thing that's not there. They're trying to sell it on being effortless. So instead of doing that, you're just looking around and go boop, 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 like that. That's basically what they're going with. So we go through a bunch of pictures. We have like 2 pictures of some stuff. I only remember the one person because I was checking the colors out. It was nice and vibrant. Again, very good screens. Then they went into a panoramic display thing. I'm going to real quickly just... My body's all whack, so I'm just going to do this real quick. There we go. Yeah, less whack now. All right, so what was I saying? All right. So we go through the 2 pictures, and then we get to, what was it? It was a panoramic image of like Norway or Finland or someplace. It was on the sea. It was a nice like panoramic view. And because it had been taken with like an iPhone 15 or something, it had like some depth to it. So you were looking at this thing and it actually let you sort of see into the space a little bit as you're looking around. It was a really cool effect. But again, nothing that you can't already get with this kind of technology that already exists. Then move into another picture, same thing. And then they started showing off the spatial video stuff, which is the iPhone like 3D pictures and videos, where you can hold an iPhone up and take like a 3D video of a scene. It's just like, basically like if you're watching me right now, except that you could actually perceive the depth. Like if you were actually sitting where the camera was in VRChat, you could see the depth of the room in this view. That's basically the idea. And the effect holds up really well as long as you don't move. If you try and move forward, the effect starts falling apart because it's just like a one-way spatial thing. It's not actually a 3D zone. If you move to the side, it kind of falls apart a little bit because it doesn't react properly with your hands and movement and all that. So that's the basic gist. Okay, then after that, they told me to turn the little thing on the top in order to immerse myself. So the normal mode that they were showing off is the pass-through, where, camera out front, pass through, I can see the room around me, I can see all the stuff. And there's a little, they call it the digital crown. It's basically just a little, rotary knob up at the top, one of the top things on the headset. The other one's like a capture button. There's a dedicated capture button on this thing to record video. But the other button is a little knob, and it has, if you push it, it's basically like the home button. It takes you back to the main menu, or it brings up the main menu icons. And if you turn it, it immerses you, I guess is the best way to put it. It sucks you out of the pass-through and fits some virtual environment around you. If you've used literally any VR thing ever, it is basically just the home environment. If you use the Quest one, it's, the weird house thing that they have. If you use Steam VR, it's the Steam VR room that you're sitting in. It's just that. It is just that. So we do that, go into some little field, I guess. I don't really remember where it was supposed to be. It's just some field hanging out. And I'm looking around and it's oh yeah, hey, this is actually pretty cool. It's an actual 3D environment. I can move around a little bit, but I will say one thing I didn't try is I didn't try really moving. I didn't stand up. I didn't move around at all. I sat in the seat, and I regret doing that. I would have liked to actually try and push it a little bit more, because some VR headsets, I think it was the Windows Mixed Reality ones, because I tried one of those ones once. They have a 3D bubble, I guess is the best way to put it, where when you're sitting in the thing, you can perceive depth in all directions around you. So there's a 3D environment around you. But if you try and move, the bubble moves with you. So unlike here, where there's a virtual space around me, and if I move, the space does not move around me, and I move within the space, which is also the same thing as the Quest Home or Steam VR Home. With the Windows Mixed Reality thing I tried out before, it was a bubble where, you could move around and it would track that you're moving around, but you weren't really moving within the space that it was displaying. And I'm not sure if the Apple Vision Pro was in that same kind of thing, where if you move around, eventually it would stop you or kind of travel with you, or if it was an actual 3D environment, surrounding you. I just wish I could have tested that because it didn't come to me at the time. So what they did then is they showed opening multiple windows and how to resize windows and that kind of thing, and interact with windows using your hands. This one was pretty analogous to the Quest environment, where because this one actually, instead of just doing this, wherever you happen to be looking and letting your hand track it, you actually had to grab the thing, pick the window up, and move it around. So I'm holding it's basically like holding your camera or any window in VRChat or what have you. You actually have to grab it, move it into a space, move it wherever you want it to go. I will say that was okay, what's the best way to put it? It's both incredibly slick and poorly implemented, as weird as that sounds. So let me try and explain. When you're doing it, because I was doing it a little bit outside of the virtual environment as well. When I was doing it outside of the virtual environment, because I was sitting in the Apple Store, right? I could grab the thing and hold it, and just by moving it around, the window would sort of expand out and resize to make it appear as if it was growing larger or smaller depending on how far away I was sort of focusing on when I was moving it. So if I was like moving it and then like putting it on top of this table in front of me with this weird kettle thing, it would look smaller because it was sort of localized on that table. But if I was taking it and moving it and like throwing it up on the wall over here, it would have become much larger and looked like it was taking up that same space. To my vision, they would be the exact same size because I'm looking at like the same thing. It's just like small area here, large area there, right? But the way they very subtly like add shadows and stuff, like if I put it on here, there'd be like a little shadow on the table where the icons are. If I'd done it over there, there'd be a shadow on the wall to make it look larger. It's very slick. But, and this was one of the major issues I found when I was using it, it's all eye tracked, right? The indicators for what you're looking at only happen when you're looking at the thing to interact with it. So best way to put it is, in normal VR, I got my hand, right? If I'm looking at a menu, I have a little laser pointer that shows me where I'm pointing and sort of, how far off I need to go. If I want to go to the exit button, if I want to go to the settings or whatever, I have to point at the thing and I can judge where I am, right? The Apple one is all eye tracked, which means you just have to look at the thing that you're doing. But, and this is a big issue, when you're doing that, you can't tell how far off your eye tracking is from the thing you're looking at. And a lot of the targets you're looking at are really small. Like one of the examples is a browser window I had open, where there's like a little space on the bottom corner, and you have to grab that and pull it in order to expand the window in whatever direction in order to scale it out. But if you look slightly up or to the right or in or out from where that location is on the corner, you're not scaling it anymore. And it doesn't have like a very wide grasp area. And you can't tell if your eyes are off angle when you're looking at it. Like you're looking at a thing, you're looking at a screen right now, but you're not looking at this spot where my finger is. You're looking all over the place on this screen. Your eye isn't locked to where my finger is at all times. So by doing this way, you can't judge. You can't really easily focus on a point. And you can't judge where the thing is thinking your eyes are because you can't see where it thinks your eyes are. And the targets are tiny. They're small. Like, I'm trying to, okay, like you see this iPad over here? That's roughly the size of the target to like close the window. And if you're not looking exactly on this iPad, you're not closing that window. When you look at it, the thing will like swell up a little bit and a little X will show up to tell you that, you're looking at it right. And then you can click your fingers to close the window, but you can't get to that point easily. It takes more effort than it should to hit that. So that's why I mean, like, it's slick, but also really hard to use. You can get used to it over time, but it's just like, it's just a small detail that they really could have just fixed. Maybe some kind of shadow to show you wires. It's like, it's just weird. It's really felt strange to use that. Anyway, so we go through this environment. It's telling me how to like, the person I'm with is telling me how to, scale windows, pop multiple windows up so I can look at one thing while doing another thing while doing another thing. And then eventually we go like, okay, yeah, so we're going to return back to real life, twist the knob to shut down the virtual environment and bring reality back in. Oh, another cool thing, actually. One thing that is actually pretty cool is, again, this is something how it's like very slick, is the use of, what's the best way, cutout, sort of overlay, whatever. When you're looking at it, you can see your hand through it, despite the fact that there's a virtual environment, that kind of thing, like layering. I don't know what the exact word is. Very good use of that in this. Like your hand is always clear. You can see where your hands are if you put your hands in front of you. And then like if there's someone in front of you, they'll sort of peek through the virtual environment a little bit, which was weird because like I'm looking at this lake and then off to the side there's like this slightly opaque area where there's this woman talking to me. But you know, it is what it is. Okay, so we do that. We come out of the environment. It's kind of like it's weird. Like you twist the knob and it sort of like zoops in like this. It's kind of like it's unnecessary almost. Like there's a knob there that twists between like full immersion and full pass through, but then the interim states are like, why do these even exist? It's just weird. It's just weird. So then we get to the 3D movie, and they basically just had like a selection of 3D movies showing up there, and they give your option of watching a little clip from the Super Mario Bros. Movie or Avatar. I picked Super Mario Bros. Because I've seen Avatar already, and also I just felt like watching Super Mario Bros. Because it had more color going on. So tried it out. It's a 3D movie. It's really all there is to it. It shows up in like this player that shows up in front of your screen, in front of your eyes, just, you know, wherever you're looking. And you get to watch the movie and it's got like added depth, and that's cool. But also interesting, because it's through the pass-through, it like dims your environment. So instead of just like doing full pass-through and then you have windows flying around, they actually mess with your environment, which is neat. So like I could still see the room around me, but it was all darkened, like I was in a movie theater. It was all darker. It was all like harder to see things on the outside, but I could still perceive them because I was still looking at the pass through. I just had this big old window hanging out in front of me because my focus was the movie. So we do that, watch the clip from the Mario Bros. Movie. It was, you know, it's fine. It's 3D. It's a 3D movie. It's neat. It's technology that we could use elsewhere. But again, the screen is really nice. And then we go on to a like best of clips kind of thing. Right? Yeah. Was that the whole? Yeah, I think that was everything. Like I said, it's not a very long demo. It's a lot of it, I think, is just people getting used to navigating in VR. But since I'm literally sitting here in VRChat doing all this stuff, I probably was a couple steps up above the general clientele of this thing in terms of fluidity in using VR. So we go through this last thing, which is just like a bunch of clips of, you know, like videos shot with a stereoscopic camera to give you 3D, or like shot with the Vision Pro itself, which is a neat feature actually. And it's a bunch of clips. Just like there's a woman who's like staring at you on a tightrope. There's like a rock concert where you're like in the front row, or you're at like you're like at the first base of a baseball game or something like that, or you're sitting there getting baby rhinoceroses coming up to you. Again, incredible screen quality, incredible camera capture, very good quality images. The main thing that caught my attention in that, though, was one clip where there's like a train on a snowy mountain coming at you. Like it's coming right this way, and like it skips right past you, and then the smoke or the steam from the train comes at you. That's the one that really set in just how good the screen on this thing is and how good the image quality of the capture was. Because if you've ever seen like freshly fallen snow, you know that you can like see the sun speckling off of the individual snowflakes that are there, right? It wasn't quite at that level. It wasn't quite at the point where you could see each individual speckle on the snow, but you could like see in extreme detail like the texture of the snow and the quality and the crunch kind of feeling of it. So it was like it's like one step back from being perfect replication of being there visually. Give it a couple camera generations and we'll be there. but like it was one step back. But again, that's again more of a selling point for whatever camera they used to take that video than the actual headset. Then that was pretty much the end of the demo. So yeah, let's see, picture, we got the zooming thing, then we went to the environment, then we went to the movie, then we watched the little movie thing. Yeah, that was pretty much everything. Incredible quality video. Oh, also I should point out that video, while it was like depth video, it wasn't full surround 3D, it was 180. So 180 degree over video. Again, if you move too much, the illusion is broken. But if you're sitting there looking straight on, it's very immersive. Now that I've spent like 50 minutes talking about this thing, oof, my throat. Let's get on to my actual thoughts about this thing. So, again, the screen quality is incredible. Like, I am using a Quest 3 right now, which has like a 2K display in both eyes, 4K display in both eyes, incredibly good quality. I wish I could try out a big screen beyond, because that would probably be a much closer comparison point than the other one. And I just put my leg up. I'm trying to just see. So I already mentioned that I wasn't really able to tell if it was a good feel or not, because I'm fairly resistant to it, and also I didn't have it on for that long. And I mentioned that the controls weren't quite as magic as they're making it out to be. A lot of people are going like, it's magic, but it's really not, because like the having to use your eyes is cool. Like seeing the things move around when you look at them, and then like being able to just like do this and sort of the screen automatically focusing and very slickly moving things into position on the terrain. That's all really slick and very impressive, and I will not deny the technology there is very cool. But in terms of actual usability, I think it has some kinks to be worked out still, mostly because of the targeting. Like if I can just look at a thing and have it work, that's cool. But if I have to look at an exact spot and the thing doesn't tell me if I'm off or by how much I'm off unless I like look around it until I hit the exact spot, that's a problem. Now, for the actual headset itself, do I think it's worth $3,500? God, no. Absolutely not. Well, okay. Let's say this. After trying it out, I get it. I get what they're going for, and I do get, to some degree, why they priced it at $3,500. A lot of that is Apple tax. A lot of it is just, we're Apple, we're going to put an Apple logo on this thing, you're going to pay an extra because of that. So I don't think it should be worth $3,500. But I also don't think the headset is meant for me or you. That's not like a, ooh, the pores. That's like, I literally do not think it's meant for consumers. I don't think it's meant for developers. I think it's meant for Apple. It's a self-indulgent device created by Apple for them to show we can still change the world, just like the iPhone. That is my thinking on what the point of it is. Because, again, the tech that's in there, well, some of it is cool. None of it is something that doesn't exist already in another format that may or may not be more mature than it. The screens are incredibly high quality, but that's all they are. They're screens. The pass-through is very good quality, but it's pass-through. I've got pass-through. Right now, this is pretty good pass-through if I was using it. The hand tracking is good quality, but it exists elsewhere. And in fact, in some cases, it's even more intuitive than what they were using. And for $3,500, you just can't justify that thing. But what I think they're trying to do is like, this is going to sound incredibly pretentious. I think they're trying to create a new lifestyle. Like when the iPod Touch was created, they defined how people used smartphones. They defined how people used devices. They defined apps. They created apps. They created the smartphone market with the original iPod Touch and the iPhone. And I think they're trying to do that again with the Vision Pro. They're trying to make a lifestyle changing device. It's not a device meant to be a VR headset or replace, a VR headset or replace your computer or be an accessory to your computer. It's meant to change how you live your life. I know that's incredibly pretentious of me to say that, but that's what I genuinely feel they're trying to do with it. They're trying to change the way you live by creating a device that changes the way you live. This thing I've got on right now, as much as I love this thing, it does not define my lifestyle. I don't live using this as a key part of my life. It exists as, a fun toy, an accessory. I use it for specific purposes. I could theoretically walk around with it on all day. I have once, but it's not defining my lifestyle. Apple wants their thing to define a lifestyle. You are going to live with the Apple Vision Pro on, and you are going to become a Apple Vision Pro lifestyle person. You are going to, when you need to, take a picture of something. That's by tapping the button on your head. You're going to open up apps by doing this and just flicking a picture over there so you can take a look at it. You're going to summon a screen from your MacBook, have it float in the air while you're working on it. Then you're going to scroll through Reddit shitposts while doing this, while you got a TV over here, while you got the game on a virtual screen over there. And then when your kids walk in, they say, "Hey, Dad, want to play with us?" You take a picture of them, and then you send it to Reddit and show them, "Hey, look, my kids want to play with me because I have an Apple Vision Pro. I'm cool." And that's what they want. What the? Oh, I turned on my hands again. There we go. Oh, God, my battery's running out. Also, the battery only lasts for 2.5 hours on that thing. That's how do they not have more battery power in something that weighs that much? Now, like I said, it's a device that I don't think is meant for people. I literally think they made this thing just to prove they could, because they think, oh yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to change the world with this. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. For my part, on the consumer side of things, I don't think you should buy it. That's not like a asterisk unless this. I don't think you should buy this thing. Ignoring the price, the functionality on it is pretty limited. Like, it has some games, it has some features and apps and all that stuff, and Apple has the whole App Store just gets ported right in. Probably because it's just a bunch of apps that are going to be windows on your view that you just shove over there and just look at it like this. But if you're not using this for a lifestyle change, if you're not going to buy into the Apple lifestyle, you should not buy one of these, period. If you want to use a VR headset, you should buy a VR headset. If you want to live the Apple lifestyle, you should buy the Apple Vision Pro. So what they're trying to sell you with this thing is the lifestyle. They're not trying to sell you the ability to use VRChat or play Beat Saber, because you're not going to do that. You're not going to do any of those. You're going to do what Apple tells you, because that's how Apple do. But again, that's just my thoughts on it. If you have an Apple store nearby, you should check this thing out. It is a fun little experience, if nothing else. And maybe, you'll try out something I didn't try. Maybe you'll buy into it more than I did. you'll actually go through an experience. Maybe you'll stand up and walk around. Oh, that's the other thing I forgot about. I forgot. The pass-through is not perfect on that thing as far as I can tell. So like with this, with my hand pass-through, if I like look through my nose hole here and I move my hand down, my hand tracks 1-to-1. Like the Quest pass-through has its issues with stuff close to you with getting warping, but like everything is in the location it should be. With the Apple Vision Pro, I don't think it has that. Everything is like zoomed out or like not quite spatially accurate. Oh, the other thing is the FOV. So people have been talking about this. The field of view on that thing is pretty tight. Like VR headsets aren't good for that in general because, you know, we got lenses you have to look through on a screen on a headset. The Apple Vision Pro has a FOV that I think is pretty comparable to like my original CV1. It's really small. It's not very good. But again, the screen, okay. The screen, incredible. Legitimately incredible. I imagine next gen VR headsets are probably going to be on par with that. The extra tech shoved into there is fine. The software is really good with issues, but you shouldn't buy one, period. I don't think you should buy one at all. These are for specific people and Apple. And if you're watching this, if you're watching this video about some jerk off in a frog suit in VRChat, you're probably not one of the people that this is meant for. All right. I think that's pretty much everything I had to say about the thing. Yeah. Like I'm totally on board to hate this thing, but I will say I get it after having tried it. So that's up for you to decide on your own if you want to follow that same path or if you have a different opinion. Feel free to hate it. Just don't knock it before you try it. That's all I can say. Now, how long did I jabber on for? 59 minutes? Wow, good timing, me. So that's almost exactly an hour. Wow, I'm good at this. All right, I'm gonna go off now. So enjoy the rest of your day, I guess. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, what have you. I'm going to just hop on over here and push the. When I slip into my pass through, I turn on my digital crown. And let's see here. Where's the button? Okay. Push that one, and then push that one. There we go. Technology. It's incredible. You can do anything with technology, but you can't use full body tracking in a Vision Pro or play VRChat. Probably. That's actually something I imagine they'll do. Anyway, if you want to think about it, it's basically an iPod Touch on a headset in terms of what they're trying to do with it. That's what they're doing. They're making a new iPod Touch because Steve Jobs is dead, but the dream is still alive, baby. All right, I'm out. See you next time. I have to do it like this.